Da 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 da. Welcome to Disenfranchised. I'm Karen Bulinski Mathison of The Naked Grief. This is where we dissect Friends episodes one at a time through the lens of grief, loss, and disenfranchised grief. Today we're breaking down the season finale, the one where Rachel finds out. You don't know what you want until you know it's possible. And sometimes the thing you've been looking for has been right in front of you the whole time. That realization can change everything. So here's what's happening in the one where Rachel finds out. It's Rachel's birthday. The friends throw her a party. Ross is leaving for China on a business trip. And before he goes, he asks someone to give Rachel a gift while he's gone. He gets a pep talk from Joey and Chandler before he leaves, and they say, man, you've just got to let this go. It's never going to happen. Get yourself open to new possibilities. So Ross leaves for China or is heading to the airport, and Rachel opens the gift being this brooch, and Rachel goes, oh my gosh, he remembered. And then Monica chimes in, I can't believe he did something so huge. And then Chandler, in all of his Chandler fashion, says, come on, Ross, remember back in college when he fell in love with Carol and bought her that ridiculously expensive crystal duck? And everyone stops, they look at him, and Chandler realizes what he just did. He spilled the beans. He just told Rachel that Ross bought an expensive gift for Carol after he fell in love with her, which means Ross bought an expensive gift for Rachel which indicates that he's got a crush or deeper feelings for her. It's such a small thing, a crystal duck, a connection, a slip of the tongue, but everyone grabs onto it immediately, and suddenly Rachel knows. Now Rachel has never thought of Ross like that. He's been her friend, her safe place, the guy she leaned on when Paolo cheated. But the moment she finds out it's possible, everything shifts. The wall goes down, and she starts thinking about Ross in a romantic way. Will it work? Will it not? So while Ross is away, she starts imagining conversations. Well, let's back up a little. She decides that she needs to go to the airport and talk to him before he flies out. And the friends ask, what are you going to say? And she said, I don't know, but I know I need to be there. And one of them says, well, don't go if you're going to ruin his trip. So by the time she gets to the airport, he's like on his way down to board the plane. And she passes a message on to one of the flight attendants, who gives the message to the wrong person, who ends up spending his whole time in China, apparently having to justify to his wife, there is no Rachel. Just a fun caveat there. But while Ross is away, Rachel starts to really imagine what being with him could look like. She's living in her head, she's running scenarios, and she's playing out the what ifs. And Monica and Rachel even argue about a fake breakup that hasn't even happened yet, because now the stakes feel more real. And Phoebe even points out it would be like starting on the 15th date. You already know each other. There's no discovery phase. And that's both beautiful and terrifying, because it means you have to jump into that vulnerability faster, and you can't ease in. So Rachel kind of decides that she's going to meet him at the airport. She's going to tell him how she feels. She's going to go for it. But here's what I want you guys to notice about Rachel. Rachel didn't even see Ross as a possibility, because he was her cushion, her safe place. When Paolo hurt her, she went to Ross. She leaned on him. She hugged him. But she never saw him as a guy. She saw him as a fixture, a constant. And that's the danger of being someone's safe place. They can end up taking you for granted without even realizing it. You become so woven into their life that you're invisible as a person, because you're just there. I've been that person. I've had a crush on someone that I'd known for years. We were close, we were comfortable, and when that moment finally came to cross that line, it was weird. Because we'd been in that friend zone for so long, I didn't know what to do. The comfort became a barrier. That's a disenfranchised grief, too. The grief of being seen as safe instead of desirable, of being the shoulder instead of the person someone chooses. And that moment that Chandler tells Rachel, "Come on, Carol, got the crystal duck." She starts living in her head. Rachel imagines conversations. She imagines possibilities. She's grieving a relationship that hasn't even started yet because she's fearful of the breakup, the ending, as well as the possibilities. That's real grief. You're mourning the loss of what could be before you even know if it's real. I do this more often than I'd like to admit. I look at my business right now. As things become clearer and everything's starting to align and I can see all the possibilities, but every possibility comes with a what if that I have to grieve. What if I make one false move? What if I pivot when I shouldn't? What if I succeed and it changes everything? That's the grief nobody talks about. The grief of potential, the grief of possibility. Here's something I want to be really honest about. I've had several opportunities throughout my career to step into bigger roles, higher titles, more money, and every single time it was a dramatic change. Even though I moved forward and accepted the position, my body responded with tears or even just feeling a little nauseous. I'd react out of fear of the possibilities, fear of potential, fear of success, fear of the overwhelm of a new environment, new coworkers, new responsibilities, new identity, and maybe even a little bit of imposter syndrome sinking in. And here's what I realized. My body was telling me something. The tears weren't sadness. They were my nervous system saying, this matters. This is a pivotal point. This is going to change who you are. Because that's what big change does. It shifts your identity. You're not the same person in the new role. You're not the same person with the new relationship. You're not the same person after the realization. Rachel doesn't know it yet, but finding out Ross loves her has already changed her. She can't unknow it. She can't unsee it. And that identity shift, that's grief too. Because even if she decides that she doesn't want to pursue anything with him, knowing how he feels, how is she going to change the way she engages with him? The friendship is at risk, and it's a deep friendship. So even though nothing bad has happened, and even though this is supposed to be good news, this can be something that we experience, well, I experience even in the dating world now. When I find somebody that I connect with, there's that fear of sabotage, that fear that emotional overload because of other losses that I've experienced, people who have chosen to leave and people who have left without a choice. My body responds the same way it did with those career changes, with tears. And usually it's because it's due to a strong connection. They're a signal. Body's reactions are just that. They're signals. They're responses to traumas, good and bad. And it means that you're standing at the edge of something real, something that matters. And the only way through is to take a breath, acknowledge the fear, and choose to go for it anyway. That's what Rachel does. She acknowledges the fear and she chooses to go for it anyway. You don't know what you want until you know it's possible. And once you know, you have to be brave enough to go for it. If this resonates with you, if you felt the grief of possibility, that fear of identity shift, that what if that keeps you up at night, you're not alone and you're not broken. Like and follow me on YouTube for more episodes like this one. And if this hits you even more on that disenfranchised grief line, explore thenakedgrief.com. Next week, we're going to wrap up season 1 with all the highlights, identify all the different angles that the characters have experienced with grief. And I need to let you know that I will be going live on March 7th while I am in Las Vegas at the Friends Experience. So in order to see this event, please follow me on the Naked Grief on Facebook. I will see you next week as we wrap up season 1 of Friends. Da 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 da.